Hello and welcome to the Spiritual Reality Show. You look
Hello.
beautiful, Janet.
Oh, thank you. I have my favorite fall color on. This is my coral orangey. I love orange. I do. It's just, I
Oh,
don't know, it
you're
just
so
makes me
it really you're shining. I mean, it really is a good color for you.
oh, thank you. Thank you. And you look very lovely. You're in that was that
A little bit
blue.
more
This is your
modest.
blue. Well, it's a deep color. It's a very royal color, so it's a nice color.
It's
And
actually my
I know
favorite color. Blue is, but I like a little bit lighter blue tones. But
yes, different
blue makes
colors,
me
different shades.
feel good. It really
Yes, yes.
communication and it's a very powerful color for me. I feel very um aligned when I'm
Mm.
using that kind of color. So I actually choose my colors based on what I'm doing for the day. I don't know if you do that, Janet, but I'm very conscious about what I put on, which color to actually help
Yes.
me in certain situations.
Well, I have my Solex device, which is something I use for checking myself, and I work with people with it, so that's something I have not shared a huge amount, nothing on the show yet, but it's wonderful, and it does when we do the inner voice, which is talking about what's in your subconscious, and it's every day I do it, and I also get my vitamins through it. I have all my vitamins loaded into it, and it tells me colors that will help lift me if I'm in a tough space. So the first one was green today, and the second one was sort of pinky orange. I mean, so this is sort of there.
Yeah,
And I wear bracelets that'll have the colors in it
yeah.
to yes, to help that anywhere you wear it, even on your shoes or a necklace or whatever, it just anchors it in for the day. And it's fun. It's powerful. I do believe in color. You can tell how you feel because I always went to my closet and said, "Well, what do I feel like wearing today?" And
Mm,
it's the color that will pull me. And I'm always into bright. I like
yeah,
bright. I really love bright colors and it makes me happy.
yeah.
So it keeps me in that upper vibration when I wear bright. If I get too dark, like I can't even wear black anymore. I mean, very, very little black.
Mm.
I used to love black, but now it just, and black is a beautiful color because it encompasses all the colors of the rainbow. But yet I don't know, it doesn't call me like it used to. So we all shift. We're all shifting, and it's daily. Things are shifting daily. So today, what are we talking about today? I think we're going to talk about connection, huh?
Oh yeah, because I actually brought that topic forward, Janet, because the connections I've made recently is
Hmm.
um, based on our connection mostly. So trusting that we were connected at the right moment
Yes, yes,
and divine guidance, if you wish. And that
yes.
when we allow that connection, and we can look at connection in so many different ways, but for me, it's very spiritual. It is very divine. To
Yeah,
me, it's an intervention sometimes because the
yeah.
right people show up. I get the right connection when I'm aligned with what my purpose is and I'm following my soul's calling. That's when I connections show up in my life, new connection, new pathways for me to explore. And so we've been
Oh
doing the
yeah,
spiritual reality show based on a connection that was guided. And
yeah,
here we are, and you're now opening up where I'm inviting some of the people I've been working with in my side of the world, and you're opening with the people you're working with. And
yeah.
so I could see the connections, and we're just following our intuition here. We're going with the
Absolutely.
guidance.
It's all intuitive. It's all been intuitively guided. Yeah. Well, and for me, the connections, when I started my Own Your Divine Light show, which was my like summits I've done four, and I was going to do my fifth this year and I kind of let it slide. I may do it next year. But, I met so many wonderful people, including you, which, I was divinely guided by all the people I was led to. I didn't know any of them. I never knew you. I didn't know anybody. And so and this is the blessing of this spiritual journey. It's part of the blessing when I've met so many amazing people. I mean, you and I are doing this. It's like such an amazing gift. And, I always kind of, I didn't know I could do this, but once I got into my shows, I loved it. I love connecting with people. I love talking with people. I love hearing what people's journeys are and what
Yeah.
they're doing and how they're sharing their things, their gifts, or just what's bringing them joy, you know? And it's so powerful. It's so
Mm.
powerful to connect. It's a
I must
really great.
admit, when we connect and I resonate, it is the resonance in that is because I
Mm,
can recognize a piece of me in you, right? And
yes.
so I'm feeling we're resonating in an area of, expansion. And so for me,
Mm,
that's why different connections comes into my life. I honor all connections, but sometimes you have
yes.
to let go of some connections that
Oh yeah. Oh sure.
they're unfolded and you've
Yeah.
gotten what you needed and you have to let that connection go.
Oh,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
And
love that.
so
I love that you said that. It's such a I love that you said that it's an expansion. You really know when you're connecting to a soul who's truly uh devoted, I'd say in a way, to their expansion because you just resonate so much higher with that person. You just know it. You just say, "Wow, this is somebody I can really connect with." And yes, that's how we connected.
yes,
And and all
I
the people that you and I are connecting with and bringing to forward in our show, your show, my show, our show. It's great. It's
yeah.
amazing.
And I'm thinking like looking at when we show up for each other, this is the spiritual
Mm,
reality show where we look at, the human experience and its ups and downs.
mm,
But we do meet each other soul to soul. We
mm.
connect so strongly. We can release any obstacles or any limitations that the human conditioning has put on us or we've adopted. We can just be honest and vulnerable with each other. And in that space, that's where magic resides. And I believe that's also how we allow the expansion and the connections to unfold that will help us and lead us in the direction not only for the show but for our personal journeys as
Oh,
well.
absolutely.
And
It's
I'm
all
thinking
about
not
that.
only about us, I'm thinking about you who's watching.
Yes.
We have a
Yes.
connection. You've decided to create a connection with us. You're here
Mm,
watching. So what does this connection mean to you? We would love to hear that. We want to honor our part of that
yeah.
connection. And that's what we try to do by showing up and just sharing from our hearts.
Exactly. Yeah. That's so perfect that you said that because I was just thinking we need to tell, our audience, our listeners that we're doing this not just for ourselves, but for them as well, because we want to show how we're all connected in this journey together and that none of it's simple and that it's so wonderful when you can be vulnerable with each other. And
Yes.
on this, we're vulnerable. We are vulnerable because we're putting ourselves out to the public and we're vulnerable and it takes a certain amount of courage to do that, but I don't feel like it's even courage anymore. I just feel like it's truth, it's authenticity. This
Yeah.
is who we're meant to be and this is how we choose to be with people and in general with ourselves, with each other. And this is the way to live because we're living authentically.
And then
So we're
in that
hoping that you're
space,
feeling
we're
that.
allowing ourselves to be lifted by the connections. Remember
Yes.
that. So when you are feeling down or you're whatever is what's going on, but you're in that connection, you know that you will be lifted by that connection if you allow it
Yes.
to.
It's
So
so powerful. Yeah. It's so
and
healing when you are with someone, like, at our last show, we shared how we enjoy each other in sharing that we can share each other. And it helps you to receive because, you weren't feeling well. And now I felt very soothed. And I feel that all the time. When you feel this sort of peacefulness resonating through your body when you're with listening to someone or with somebody, this is a really soul connection. It's a soul connection.
mm,
It's not something to look at. I mean, and be grateful for it in the moment and just enjoy the moment of it. And don't worry about the future of it or the past of it. Just stay in the moment of it and just be grateful that you're with this person and you get to share this moment together.
so why
It's
don't we
precious.
strengthen our connection right now with our viewers as well by you um, reading a card? You pulled a card for
Oh,
us.
sure. Yes, this I have the Goddess Rising card. I love when I have to feel this.
Wow. Oh,
And the
that's
Goddess
beautiful.
Rising,
Mm.
isn't she beautiful? I mean, I would show you. And it's the painting on her, and I'll read the card. And
Mhm.
this is my one of my favorite decks, of course, the Goddess Rising, embodiment, empowerment, and awakening. And it's the first card of the whole deck, and this is John Arthur Mosley deck. And I am the power of the feminine in her full glory, goddess of the chosen ones. I am your beckoning and illumination of the power you hold, for I am within you, as you, representing your full mastery. I call upon you now, Sacred One. You are the keeper of great teachings. Open to this now, for I am your destiny and your intuition that is guiding you home. So, a little deeper, the goddess rising, also called Gaia or Pachamama in some cultures, is the divine feminine in her creative power that sustains life on earth. She is the fertility goddess who embodies all of creation. She, whether overseeing plantings and harvests or sending earthquakes and floods to restore balance, she is responsible for nature's harmony. The goddess rising is a powerful reminder to respect and honor all creation as the same life force flows through us all. In this painting, and I don't know if you can really see it, the goddess rising is shown standing, let's go that way. That way. I want to get too far from the light. It's this way. This is always a real fun thing to do. Anyway, in the painting, the goddess is shown standing in front of the rising sun in a pool of clear water formed from the waterfall that flows from her heart. So if you can see that water flowing from her heart, this
Mhm.
water represents the life giving essence of unconditional love. Her left hand holds her cloak upon revealing Black Panther spirit, symbol of ferocity and protection, qualities that allow her to be in her femininity and softness without fear. The macaw spirits to her side, that's the bird, symbolizes being visible and shining her beauty into the world. The irises, the flowers, to her other side, signify natural royalty and wisdom. At the center of her crown and the top is a chrysalis, a symbol of transformation and rebirth, like what the butterfly forms a chrysalis when they want to be, before they turn from a caterpillar to a butterfly. Snake spirit coils around her left arm, representing the process of transmutation. Perfectly aligning with her sacred form is the sacred geometry of the Sri Yantra, signifying the perfect balance of the divine feminine and the sacred masculine. So the Goddess Rising card is a message to fully awaken to the remembrance of the sacred being that you are. Even when things are in seeming disarray or upheaval, you are only experiencing the natural forces according to the law of balance. This is the grace of spirit, restoring you to wholeness and further aligning you along your path. Stand confidently in your power. Take time to honor and be present with the rhythm of your own body, knowing these rhythms are one and the same with the intelligence, wisdom, and perfection of nature and the sacred goddess rising herself. Aho, goddess rising.
Wow.
Yeah, it's more about harmony. We talked about some harmony in the last show, and this one is about, the sacred feminine and the masculine coming into harmony, and the forces of nature, how much we are connected, because we are nature. We are a force of nature. We return to the earth, dust to dust. What
Yeah.
does the Bible say? We're dust to dust. And
And that
we
and it's a sacred connection that needs to
yes.
like all connections. And we keep
Hmm.
going because it's just our connection to Mother Nature. And some of us, we're so busy with our lives that we forget to nurture that connection.
Mm-hmm.
All connection
Mm-hmm.
needs to be nurtured, all of them,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
flourish and to be of
Yes.
hope. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I always say I could not do this work ever because the connections are so important to me. I had a friend who kind of semi-retired. She's a manicurist, and she did it for just through COVID, kind of. She took the break, and then she said, and her husband had retired, so she's debating I should retire. But she said, I can't. I miss my connections. I
Yeah.
miss my connections to my friends and the women that I work with, I serve, and I love just connecting with them, knowing about their life. She missed all that. It was like her social moment, and without it, you're kind of home doing your thing, but it's not the same. So,
No, when
I
you
mean,
think
that's,
about it, if you're feeling down and you're not feeling well, you feel alone, it's because you're not nurturing your connections.
yeah,
And
yes.
connection don't have to be if you feel like you're alone because you haven't connected with the right people yet in your life because you're shifting
Mm,
and you're trying
mm,
to nurture new connections and create new ones. Just trust in that process that when you're ready, the universe will bring you that connection. But you need to nurture your connection with yourself, with your spirit, and your spirit guides and Mother Nature. Then you won't feel alone, and you will keep that high vibration because people usually think about connections with other people, and then you
yeah,
get stuck in the lower dimension of the victim mode that, oh,
well,
nobody
that's
likes
true
me, or
too.
I don't have
Yeah,
any friends,
yeah,
and you're stuck, right? Instead of
yes,
just shifting and saying, okay, now is my opportunity to nurture myself, nurture my
yes,
soul, my spirit,
yes,
nature, and then you keep that high vibration and you will see that that connection, maybe you meet somebody walking that's meditating out in nature and you go, oh, that's the person I would like to speak to. You never know, but you have to keep nurturing your connections, no matter what they are.
yes, yes. And yeah, that's true. Like I talked about my friend, that was more of an external connection, but she recognized it. At least she knows that the connection is important, but it's also, like you say, the most important connection is with ourselves. It's so important to do the inner connecting. And that was the gift of this whole 2.5 years, is to bring us more into ourselves, to get more grounded in who we are as people. I mean, everyone's questioning everything they've done in their life now with everything that's been going on. People have shifted out of relationships and jobs and, all that, and moved whatever it is you needed to do. They were feeling the push. It's like they didn't allow it to come through before, but because they had time to be in stillness and a little more quiet, they were, a lot of weren't going to work, so they were maybe not even working from home too much. They had their children at home, nurturing those relationships, nurturing, the relationship with your spouse or partner, whatever. And sometimes you realize it doesn't work. And sometimes you're like, well, look at that, we've just renewed a whole relationship. Like sometimes you just renew relationships and you're like, you're so happy that you've seen that you had the time to do that. Because so much in our life is, as we talk about, is just the quickness of this modern world. And to step back and to step out and to become the observer, that
Yeah.
is like a huge thing. The observer brings us to that. um I think it's a soul work, is to be the observer. Because when you can step out of yourself and observe what's going on around you, we
Yeah.
learned from the observing.
Yeah.
We are aware of things that we weren't aware of before.
It's a
I don't know. What do you?
perception from a soul perception, from uh,
Yes.
which is a higher perception. It's easier to
Mhm.
see and acknowledge your own limitations, if you wish, but with a loving, kind heart. So you do not judge yourself. You're just
Yes.
observing
Yes.
and you're
Yes.
seeing yourself from different angles with love. And that is really self work. I mean, that's how you do it. That's how you discover self love. That's how you start looking at the things that are not working for you anymore from a soul perspective. So your
Yes.
awareness, I like the word awareness because you become aware of so much more going on in your life than just what you're perceiving in that moment. You can feel that expanded consciousness just by being aware, because the soul perspective gives you that, because you're connected with your heart when you're in that process. So you have that huge awareness and of oneness. And that's, when you can actually feel that, it opens up for new possibility and new connections, right? So
Yes.
what
Yes.
I love to do is, like, every morning I greet myself in the mirror. Sounds weird, but I do. It's my connection. Hello, good morning. That's
Oh, I think
that
that's beautiful.
I do that. I smile and go, you look beautiful today. Yes, I do say that.
Ah, I think that's so positive. That's so positive.
I
Yeah.
know how important, as a hypnotherapist, I've worked with people a lot, and I know the subconscious mind pretty good. So I know how important it is to start out with the best relationship you need to have with yourself. And
Yes.
who do you want?
Yes.
How do you want to be greeted? Right? My husband is
Mhm.
perfect. He greets me with a kiss every morning, honest,
Ah,
every morning.
that's
And
so
I,
beautiful.
I think that's beautiful as well. And so he's such a good example for me because he shows me that, and I want to because he leaves in the morning before me. So he always gives me
Mhm.
a kiss and says goodbye, right? And so I go to the bathroom, and that's when I kind of pay it forward. So I was like, "Good morning, you look beautiful."
That's so
So,
nice.
but it
Yes.
really starts my day out on a high note. I Because
Well,
then
you've
I'm
already started with connection. You've already
yeah,
started
you're right.
connected.
Connection. I'm
Yes.
starting with the
Yes.
connection.
That's such a beautiful thing.
And in that
Yeah.
expanded awareness, that's when I get my best ideas. Remember, I told you this in the bathroom in
Mm.
the morning. That's when I'm aware and I'm in that connection mode, and I get my best creativity, or I get signs, or I hear my spirit guides talk to me. That's kind of where things happen in the morning. And then I have to
Well,
bring
yeah.
that into my intention setting. So it can be overwhelming. So I have to write it down, and then I just do my
Mhm.
intention for that
Mhm.
day.
That's really good. That's really good. I used to do it. I used to be very connected to when I went to the bathroom. I still am, but I used to go into the shower and the water I would just say all my affirmations and I'd get everything done. And I would really start my day off right. Now I'm not doing that as much as I used to, but I do look in the mirror and I'll say, and and usually you're looking at your body going, well, it needs some improvements. But then I'll say, okay, look, I love you. You've taken me this far. I love you, my body. I do say that to myself, because I'm going, okay, nothing is perfect as I want it to be, but you look at how healthy you really are. So
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for the health we have together. I say that to my body to know that I'm grateful because your cells are listening. They're always
Oh, yeah.
listening to us.
Mhm.
And so whatever we say to ourselves, they're like, oh, well, this is what they want. This is what she wants. So we're going to give her that.
Yeah.
So if you're saying negative things to yourself, your cells are going to take it in. So be very aware that your cells are alive. Everything on us is alive. Everything is alive and it's individual, but it's listening. Everything is listening because this is not who we are. This is that beautiful little, as I call it, the meat suit that we wear. And, but we are the essence inside. So when we treat this beautiful container that we have around us with love and kindness and joy, then
Mhm.
it's going to give it back to us.
Yeah.
So, no matter, so when people get caught up in, all the, if they're really not feeling well or I mean, they could have disease as well. But a lot of times when people really get into a positive mindset with disease, things can shift. And,
Yeah.
it may not make it all improve, but it's a lot easier on you. It's a lot more, you get through everything with more grace, with more ease.
And when I'm thinking about, I want to share this because we had a topic, and it was actually one of the cards too. Today you pulled, we talked about the divine feminine. Um, I'm working on the feminine part of me, the feminine energy,
Mhm.
acceptance
Mhm.
of the feminine part and the feminine energy. And so I've, one of those things that I do, and not only saying I love you, but I've had body image issues, if you wish, as well. Growing up, didn't look like, the way I wanted. But
You didn't
now,
look like the Barbie doll?
no, I didn't, never did that. Oh, unfortunately, I
Not
didn't
you
have the
did.
height either. So hey,
Right, right.
but I'm all good. But the thing is, I've started, to really objectively look at my body and just see how perfect it really is. Yes, I'm saying the words. I think my body is
Mhm.
perfect for me. I'm not saying it's perfect for anybody else.
Exactly,
I'm saying it's perfect for me,
exactly.
and I love this
Mhm,
body. But it's
mhm.
taken me a while, and I'm actually really proud of my breasts because I've breastfed two girls, and so I've started to look at my body. I'm 47, turning 47, and I'm looking and I go, you got nice breasts, Viveka. You do. And as more
Yes,
I'm owning that, and I'm doing that because I've been so ashamed of my body earlier years, right?
it's so
So I
important.
want
Yes,
to, yes, they look good. They're, for me, I think they're perfect. And so just owning that is also
yes,
strengthening my connection with my physical body. And so that it responds more quickly to how I feel, if you wish. So I'm not questioning anymore. I'm not sending out one signal and thinking another, like I'm
mhm.
resonating within my being of who I am. So, and it took me a while, I must admit, but I'm there now, and I can sit here live and tell you I like my boobs.
I think that's fantastic. I love that you said that because I did also. I nursed my children. I breastfed my both my children, and a long time, actually, 2 and 3 years old, which a lot of women wouldn't do that. But I just felt very connected with my son. I had to finally break it because he would have gone forever. But my daughter, I said by two, I think that's perfect. And it was still long, but it was perfect for me. I just love the connection, as we talk about that connection to your child. And
Mhm.
it was so effortless. I mean, I didn't have to prepare bottles. I never did. I mean, I didn't even pump really because I didn't have to. I was really home during those years. I wanted to be home. I got to be home, which is probably very hard for most women. But, I made it work. I would work jobs on the weekends or nights when my husband was home. So I was home with the children during the day. So it worked out for me. And then as they got older, then I went back to work. But it was so I love that connection of nursing. To me, it's so beautiful. And the
Mm.
children are so different. No matter what happens, they're still connected to you much. I'm not that all children are connected to their parents, they are, but I just love the connection because it's just so deep. It's so
It-
deep when you do that. I love that. So, yay, we both did that. I didn't even know.
We are lucky because not
We were
everyone
very
can.
lucky, and
So
I'm
I look at it as a gift. And
yes.
when we're talking about children and connection, I have one story I want to share. And I remember I have two girls. So when I got my second girl, I remember we just got home from the hospital. My husband was sitting across from me on the couch, and I was holding her. And of course, your mama heart is overflowing with love, right?
Yes,
But there was
yes.
something happened. I was holding her, and I was like feeling like she was in my heart, as well as
Mm.
I cannot put it into words because I've never
There's a
experienced it
different
after.
connection.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
different.
was holding her, and I was so moved, and I just started to speak, and I said, I know her. And my husband goes,
Mm.
what?
Mhm,
I
mhm.
know her. I have such a deep connection. And he didn't understand. Of course, I understand that he didn't understand. He goes, "What are you saying? Are you saying you're loving her more than our other daughter?" And I go,
Right, right.
"No, no. It's so weird. I know her." It was such a
Mm.
different connection. It was like seeing myself from the inside out. I can't even describe it. But what turned out many years later, she was 4 years old, and I went and did my training with the Michael Newton Institute to become a certified life between lives hypnotherapist. And I had to go through that travel, the life between lives hypnotherapy. So I actually met my daughter on the other side. So we had a past life together, and
Mm.
she met me and greeted me when I passed in that life and brought me home.
Wow.
And when
Mm.
she was standing in front of me or in that high rams, uh, I was asked, why is she in your life?
Mm.
Said it just came. She's here to teach me about unconditional love.
Mm.
It was such a powerful thing. And when I come back, from trance and everything settled, and I traveled back home, I met my husband. He picked me up at the airport, and we were driving home, and I told him about that experience. And of course, he didn't, he doesn't relate to this the way I do, and he hadn't experienced it either, but he listened, as he always does. He loves me, so he listens. He's very patient. And I told him that she's here to, teach me about unconditional love. And he goes, oh, that's nice. And then we came home and we sit
Sure,
down. It
sure
was
she is. Right.
Yeah, and we sit on the couch, and she was sitting next to me, and I was holding her, and I looked at her, and I go, you know, your mom is a little angel. And she looked up with me with her big eyes, and she goes, Mommy, I'm here to teach you about unconditional love.
Oh my
My
gosh.
husband almost fell off the couch. He goes, what?
I
Those
love that.
exact words. I mean,
Oh,
and that time, Dr. Michael Newton, he was alive. So I just ran to the computer, and I had to write him an email, just to let him know this amazing confirmation from,
yeah.
from the
Yes.
time and I think it was also for my husband to know, because he's been there when she's confirmed all these signals or whatever, these
These
gifts.
connections, the
Yeah,
connection.
the
Yes.
connection, he has experienced that deep, deep connection we have. And let me tell you, she is 15 now, and she's the most challenging person for me to be around. So she's really teaching me about unconditional love. So
Yes.
I just
Oh,
love that. I have to
yes.
remind myself of that.
Yeah, and that's so powerful to share that. And, you reminded me of, I have a little story about my daughter too, because when I opened up to my spiritual work, I took Reiki, became a Reiki master. Then I went to healing school and all that kind of thing. But the first person, I was in a Reiki group, and one of the women became a medium like immediately, because she had always put out she wanted to become a medium and she had the gift. And so I went to her for a reading, and she said, "Your daughter was your mother in the past life. And now she switched roles with you so that you can be in that position and learn about what it's like to be in that role." And I was like, "Oh my gosh," because when she was born, I knew her as well, but I never said it out loud. I just knew I knew her, because I just recognized her immediately. It's like my soul knew her. My son, I knew him. He was my firstborn, but it wasn't the same knowing. This was a deep soul connection. I mean, we're all connected, of course, but I knew her in a deeper way, just like you did with this daughter. And so we've always had a very close relationship. But and she's not as challenging as my son. My son has come through to give me lessons that are really big for both of us. We're both here to learn lessons together. That I got that message on, which has been very powerful and extremely challenging. But with my daughter, but he's a great guy. He's got my two grandchildren, right? And my daughter is the one to allow me to find my own way of being my authentic me. She has opened the door, because then when she graduated college, she never told me that she wanted to live in Colorado, but she got a job and moved to Colorado, like right after, almost, well, within 2 or 3 months of training, right after my 60th birthday, she moved. So
Mm,
she's been living there for quite a while. And she's married, and all that. And she's extremely happy, but she goes her own path. And she's very independent. And, I honor her for that. And we still connect. We're still very connected in our own way, but we have a lot of space with each other because
mm,
we respect each other. So I'm on that journey. She's given me a lot of learnings. Like, I remember she was a soccer team player, and she was going out for the middle school team, and because she was on like travel soccer as a young girl. But then this was the middle school team. This was a big deal to get on the team. And guess what? She didn't make it. I was shocked because she was such a good runner. And I was told that this was a lesson for me to understand that she didn't have to make everything just because I thought she should. And I was like,
that's
"Oh, wow.
beautiful.
I
Wow.
know. I know."
Oh,
So
as a
these are the
mother,
kind of
I
lessons.
hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. And these are the kind I was like, "Oh, no, that was my lesson?" I'm thinking it wasn't
Mm,
hers at all, it was me.
yeah.
And she's like, "I'm okay, mom. I'm okay with it." And it was like, "Are you okay, mom?" And I was so disappointed for her, and yet she didn't it was okay. She goes, "You know what? I've done enough of that." She actually, after soccer, then she went on to lacrosse and started playing lacrosse, and she played volleyball all through high school and was captain of both teams. So, she was extremely happy. And she's a little dynamo, and she still does so much athletics. And she was in a competition this weekend with three women, and it was like one of those high intensity things that they had to do all these different levels, and it was all, I don't know, it was a few hours event. Out of 50 people, her and her two other teammates came in eighth out of 50.
Mm,
That's pretty darn good. I was like, "Oh my gosh." And she's like half my size. She's a
mm,
little tiny person. She's like 5'3" in American sizes. Or yeah, she's really tiny compared to me because I'm 5'8". So, it's amazing what our children bring us, the connections that they bring us, and the ways we learn through them, and we grow through them as well. We grow with each other, with our family members, everybody that we interact with. These
mm.
connections are so powerful.
Yeah.
And when we connect with anyone, even with a quick glance or a smile,
Mm.
that was a soul agreement. All these are soul agreements. None of these are,
Remember, all
mhm.
connections are sacred. They're
Yes,
sacred. So
exactly.
treat them as that.
Mhm, mhm.
That's the best tip I can give because,
I
you
love that. I
know
love that.
what you're
Yes.
supposed to learn. You'll see that from
Yes.
the soul perspective, but there's always a lesson to be learned.
Yes. Yes. And even and I think that really brought it home during this last 2.5 years, because we were personally, we were getting being told we had to be disconnected. We were feet apart from each other, all that nonsense we had to go through, and I mean, people would say maybe it wasn't nonsense, but to me it was like another way of dividing us. And why do we have to be divided? Why
But
is that?
listen, Janet, we find other ways of connecting.
Well,
See,
this is it.
show
This
the
is what
world.
happens.
Yeah, we show the world that
I
nobody
love
can
that.
stop the
Yes.
connection. We connect, and we connect even more vulnerable because we're more safe and secure in the way we can connect because we're not in the space of others. We're in our own space.
Well,
And
that's what yeah, exactly. I was kind of leading to that too, because it was so great because I never went on so much Zoom in my life. I mean, Zoom became overwhelmed, right? And
yeah.
I mean, I was doing, like just Zoom Friday calls for people who just wanted to, connect and, do a sacred space. And I got to, create a group with that. And it was so nice. And, I met so many new people that way, which I wouldn't have pushed myself out there maybe to have that group.
Mm.
But because I wanted connection, I did it. And it was so powerful. And now there's one of the women in my group. She lives in Denver. I'm going to get to meet her for lunch when I go there, next week, which is
Yeah.
so exciting. So, and I've never met her in person. So I'm finally going to meet her in the flesh, just like you. We've never met in person yet. So
No.
I'm excited to, whenever that's meant to happen, it'll happen, right?
Yes, most
Yeah.
definitely. Yes.
But the
And we'll
connection
have
is
to
so nice.
document it. We'll have to do a show
Oh,
where
yeah.
we're together. So
We
you
were
can
going to
all
have to
see
do
how we
like
unite
something like
soul to
this.
soul. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
that would
It's
be
going to be
perfect.
so
Let's
amazing.
just put it out there. That'll happen.
I know it's going to happen. It doesn't matter. I may be going to Norway. You may
Mm.
be coming to the States. We don't know yet, but whatever. Oh, we're going to meet somewhere in the middle. Who knows? You
Yes.
know, it's
Yeah.
meant to be, and we've already connected this way, and it's such a soul connection anyway. And for any of you listening,
Mm.
any of your connections, whoever you're with right now, take a look at those connections because they're powerful connections for you. Either they're really working or they're not working. It's really important to kind of allow that to come forth
Mm.
and to step back and observe maybe for a while. How are my connections working? Do I like these connections? Do I want to change these connections? Do I want to improve that connection? There's a
Don't
lot
want
of
to
things
let go
going.
of that connection. Am I feeding a
Correct.
connection that's out of date?
Yes. I mean,
Mm.
and we've been, and it's very important right now. It's
Mm.
very important because I've pulled back a lot from different people. And I didn't expect it because these are people I've known a long, long time. And I'm like, geez, I'm not feeling the resonance. And it's not, I don't feel like really pushed to go out and be that with that person or group or whatever, and it's okay. I can live
Yes.
with that now. It's okay. Where it used to be hard for me not to do that. But now it's like, this is who I am. This is my truth. And I'm at peace with it. As
Mm.
long as you're at peace with these things,
Mm.
I think it really helps us. When you make a decision and you're at peace with it, then you're in your truth because you're coming from your heart and it feels right.
Mm. Yes, feels right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you once again, Janet, for an amazing conversation. I love our conversations. I love our connection.
I do too. I love our connection. It's very, very powerful. And I have a really beautiful quote that said, oh my gosh, it just goes so beautifully with what you're talking about. We've been talking about being fearlessly yourself means loving yourself enough to live without your baggage, without seeing the world the way others do or would have you see it. It means not needing approval to feel worthy, not needing an illness as an excuse to take care of yourself, not having to justify being yourself. It means knowing you're worthy and deserving without having to prove yourself. And that was by Anita Morjani. She's a healer.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that.
That was beautiful. How powerful. And a
I know.
perfect ending.
Thank you. I,
Yeah.
I saw that yesterday. I'm like, I'm just gonna, that one's calling me. There's a reason. I got all chills. It was meant to be today, meant to be shared. I think a friend of mine put that out actually. And I'm like, all right, I'm borrowing that one.
Well, thank you
And
for listening, Janet, and being in tune. So that's your
yes,
connection. You're connected, and here you go. You're sharing,
meant to be shared
spreading the
here.
love. Yeah.
The larger audience is meant to hear. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it
So
was a pleasure. So why
yes,
don't we just
we'll say our
ask our
prayers.
audience to strengthen the connection with us? We love and we're
Mm,
really grateful that you're here. And would you please like and subscribe. Is that what you call it? Or
Yes, like,
what is
share, and subscribe. We
yes.
love when you like and share and subscribe our show, and, if you feel it's valuable, we really appreciate that, and also, whatever you have comments, we really enjoy your comments and shares, how does this resonate with you? How has your life been with your connections? Whatever you need to share is so powerful, so
Mm,
we're so grateful that you're here.
mm,
And thank you again, Vivica, for your beautiful shares that you always bring and for everything that we brought through today. So I'm going to just thank all the beings of light and everyone who's been listening with us and sharing with us. We thank you, thank you, thank you. Cutting the cord, sending them back with love. We thank you, thank you, thank you. And now that sacred space is now dissolved. And don't forget, you can always create your own at home. Create
mm,
that sacred space and keep yourself protected. It's an important thing to do because there's so much energy going on. Stay grounded.
mm,
Stay grounded and be in your heart. Feel that peace in your heart. And then you know you're where you need to be. Now you know you're in your truth
mm.
and your connection. You're in the right connection right there.
Thank
We
you.
love you.
Love you.
Bye.